Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second flash fiction piece for June. I had some beautiful natural light earlier, but the clouds rolled in, so we'll have to see how this goes. One time I don't want the clouds, and they come in to visit. So this piece is If You Can't Say, finished it a couple of days ago, and it really is probably meant to be read out loud, so I figured that's what I would do. So I want to thank you for allowing me to experiment and try new things with my writing. I also wanted to thank you for your patience as I continue to kind of recover from the move. It's taken more than we thought it would, but I'm here. Let's go ahead and get on with the story. So, If You Can't Say. The sign? Thanks. Greta painted it herself before she left for the Limners Guild. I don't know where she got all that talent, but it wasn't for me. Yeah, I put it up shortly after I bought the place from Simon. He had a cutesy sign behind the bar. Simon says, no talking politics, no talking religion, no casting curses. Things like that. Simon was a great guy, but never really had what it took to keep the customers in line. I figured be nice was easier for patrons to remember when they're drunk. Oh, sure, but I've only had to enforce it once. Of course I can. They called me the Iron Maiden back in the day for a reason, and keeping bar doesn't give you a chance to go soft. I'll be right back. Where was I? Right, the sign. Adventurers can get testy when the payout falls through, and there isn't an evil overlord who doesn't need to take off the cowl and cut loose now and then. So, like I said, we can get a rough crowd around here. I'd had to place less than a month, and between the leaking roof and a bunch of customers who missed the guy who let them drink without paying and who didn't mind replacing the windows after every fight, things weren't going so well. Oh, and the ghosts. I hate ghosts. So, one night, here, let me get you a fresh one. One night, I'm having a rough time of it. Greta is running like a mad chicken to keep the tables happy. Ferdinand is juggling the stew pots in back. I'm dancing as fast as I can behind the bar, and my dogs are howling. Not to mention it's raining so hard there are buckets all over the room to catch the water. I don't know which god I offended, but I was ready to tithe to all of them if I had to. To make matters worse, a group of tomb raiders had returned from the northern steppes after 6 months of crawling through ruins and fighting off the goblin reavers. And what did they have to show for it? 2 dead henchmen, a nature priest on the mend, and a wagon full of broken gear. Let me tell you, we've all been there. So they kept mainly to themselves until her ladyship Dark Esmeralda came in with her ghoulish cadre. How should I know? You want to know if it's her real name? You ask her. Anyway, one of her minions signals they want her usual wine and meat tray, and then they all head to the back table with the with the tomb raiders. I was busy breaking up a fight at a table of drunk dwarves, so I didn't even know there was a problem until Greta comes rushing over and says, "Ma, you gotta get over there." So, I grab Heartrender from behind the bar and head to the back table. I can't see anything through the crowd, but I can hear enough to figure out what's going on. Oh yeah, yelling and snarling, all sorts of stuff. Villains such as you are a blight on the earth. I'll crush your skull on my way to killing your worthless friends. Things like that. I push my way through the looky-loos until I get to the table, and sure enough, her ladyship is facing off against a Lightbringer of Ashok with his luxurious curls and glowing smile. The crowd is egging them on. They're even placing bets. I said, "What the hell is going on here?" Her ladyship says, "This does not concern you." And the Lightbringer says, "Stay back, barkeep. She thought to defile the splendor of Ashok." Yeah, like anybody talks like that. It's weird. Well, I'd already dealt with 5 fights that night, so I wasn't having any of it. "Listen, your ladyship, ma'am, they got to the table first and are already settled. Let me get you another table, and I'll have Greta bring everything over to you. How does that sound?" This pisses off the Lightbringer. He glares at me like the sun from on high. You would kneel before this worm? And I say, hey, does it look like I'm kneeling? No. And I point to Simon's sign behind the bar. There's no talking religion here, no name calling, no anything. That means everybody. So, let me get them a new table and I'll have Greta bring you another round. You guys want bread and cheese? Great. On the house, we have a great Fenwick Sharp in back. You'll love it. The crowd starts hissing because they wanted a fight. Let me get this for Greta. There. So I say, you want to fight? Go down to the Baron's. You want a drink? You can stay. Well, her ladyship looks down at me with those eyes and that nose and says, open your mouth again, and I will have the wench bring me a sauce for your tongue. That gets the Lightbringer all hot, and he moves to step between us. If you've a complaint, take it up with me, worm. I know, right? Well, let me tell you, that was it. I'd had it up to here with the whole lot of them and Simon's stupid rules. I got right up in her face and said, you're not pretty enough and I'm not drunk enough for me to give you any tongue, so find another table or get out. Oh yeah, I did. I was hot. Then I turned on the Lightbringer and jabbed a finger in his chest. As for you, pretty boy, I don't have time for your holier-than-thou attitude. She's a paying customer the same as you, so it's the Baron's or the Fenwick Sharp. Your choice. I cleared Heartrender a couple of inches out of the scabbard, and suddenly, I have everybody's attention. Yeah, it's that Heartrender. I told you they called me the Iron Maiden. So, there I was, the center of attention, and I let them have it, the whole bar. I pointed to Simon's stupid rules and said, loud as I could, and let me tell you, I can get loud. And since your mothers didn't teach you any manners, let me do it for them. All those rules, they're gone. Rule 1 and only from here on out, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Nothing. Not one word won, or I will use your head for a candle holder. You got that? All I heard was mumbling, so I hefted Heartrender and got louder. I said you got that! That was great. Well, a couple walk out, and I don't shed a tear, but the rest settle down. I dropped Heartrender back in the scabbard and turned to her ladyship and the Lightbringer. You two want to say anything? They glare at each other, still hot and bothered, and I'm wondering if I'm going to have to throw the whole lot of them out. And then, this is the best part, then the Lightbringer says, right to her ladyship's face, I'm certain your parents were lovely people. And there was nothing friendly about it, not one bit. He couldn't have been less friendly if he tried. Then she gives him the ugliest look I've ever seen and says, I like your hair. Oh yeah, she's all sorts of hate, and both sides are waiting for me to turn my back so they can cut loose. Not me, though. I stay right there and wait. By this time, the Lightbringer is all but glowing, but he grits his teeth and says, that's a lovely crown. Her ladyship is smoking, she's so angry. Yeah, smoking. But she stares down at him and says, that's a very fashionable cloak. What could I do? I said they had to say something nice, not that they had to say it in a nice way. And nobody was fighting. So I said, let me get you to that table. Right this way, ma'am. And I step aside, and that was that. The next day, Greta took down the old sign, and I put up the new one. Be nice. That's my girl. Did I tell you she's apprenticed with the Limners Guild? Thanks for listening to me read. I hope you enjoyed it. Share if you did.